Middle game of the RoughRiders series against the Springfield Cardinals, and we're joined by last night's starting pitcher, Jerad Eickhoff, who a mixed bag in your debut. What are your general thoughts of the way you pitched last night?
I thought it went pretty well for things having to deal with and having to adjust from level to level and the promotion and all that. And I think the nerves took over that first inning, you could say, and I was just fortunate enough to kind of settle in after those next four.
Yeah, that's what I thought after watching in the first inning, seeing your numbers, seeing you're a guy who doesn't walk a whole lot of guys, and seeing where you were missing, and also seeing the radar gun flash up there at 97. It seemed like you were a little bit excited, a little bit nervous too.
Yeah, absolutely. Those walks were frustrating, but sitting here and looking back, I'm not as upset about those. It's being a new environment, new atmosphere. I'm okay with those.
Was it a situation when you're out there during that first inning that you're saying, I just needed to finish out this inning, get to the dugout, take a drink, take a rest, and let the heartbeat come down a little bit? Yeah,
that's exactly right. I just needed to. I was just trying to do whatever, just get outs any way, shape, or form, and I did that. Fortunately, in more pitches than I would like, but I was able to come in here and Kyle McClellan said a few words to me and helped me out and just allowed me to settle in a little bit.
Yeah, settled in, definitely something you did. 33 pitches in the first inning, and I think 48 over the next four combined, and of course no runs over that period. Now I mentioned 97 on the radar gun. Is that a little bit hot for where you usually are?
Yeah. I'm not sure how accurate that is. It's probably pretty close, but I'm usually not that high. But if I was, that'd surprise me.
And you had some family contingent here. Made the long trip. Was it about 6 hours from Evansville?
Yeah, about 5.5, 6 hours, and came in for the night and headed back the same night. So it was good to see him and see my two brothers and kind of see some familiar faces.
How often does your family get a chance to come out and actually see you pitch? Because with the Rangers affiliates being in North Carolina and in Texas and places that are not very close to Southern Indiana, had they had a chance to see you pitch very often?
They haven't really. This is actually the closest I've played to home. To be honest, they've came out. They usually make it out once or twice a summer. This time it was only once, and then my brother the second time. So I've seen my family twice now, but usually it's just about once a summer.
Here with Jerad Eickhoff, who made his AA debut last night. Give us an idea, when you're going well, what's the kind of pitcher that you aspire to be? Are you a guy that strikes a lot of guys out, ground balls, let the defense work behind you?
Yeah, I try to. I'd say I'm not a strikeout guy. I get the strikeouts kind of when I need it, or try to get them when I need it. I just get outs. That's plain and simple. Whether it's a ground ball, a pop fly, I'm trying to mix pitches and miss barrels, and that's kind of what I've been taught growing up, and that's what I've kind of continued to do throughout my process of becoming a pitcher.
You're a bigger guy, and one of the things you often see with young guys with big bodies on the mound is that they often have control problems. But looking back at your career, that doesn't really seem like it's been something that's affected you. I think you were leading the Carolina League in lowest walk rate at the time of your promotion. Has that been always something that's come naturally for you, and just being able to control your pitches despite having a bigger frame to move around?
I have early on when I was kind of first coming into pitching, that was kind of a problem, but I've really made whether in each off season and each kind of during the season, I've really tried to hone my mechanics as much as I can and be as compact and simple as I can. And being a big guy, that helps me to stay consistent and stay around the zone as much as I can and throw more strikes, which is what we're supposed to be doing. So,
do you work with the Rangers on that, or do you have somebody back home that helps you through maybe some of those mechanical things?
There's a guy, some guys back home, professional pitchers that I've talked to that have had big league time and stuff like that. But the Rangers have a really good staff, and I talk on the phone with them in the off season as well, and in instructional league and things like that during the season, and they have a good plan for me and how to get pitches where I need them and make pitches when I need to make them.
The name that always gets thrown about in terms of comparison throughout the system is Nick Tepesch, and certainly the comparison is easy to see. A similar height, similar weight. Your arsenal is not quite exactly the same, but also similar in that regard, and also the fact that you're not walking a lot of guys. Do you see those comparisons? Do you consider yourself a similar pitcher to Nick?
I'd say so, yeah. I've watched video of him pitching at this level and in the big leagues, and I can see it in his stature and his competitive nature and how he attacks hitters and things. I could see that very much so.
Now, did you have a favorite team growing up, baseball team? You're a little bit in no man's land in Southern Indiana.
Yeah, I'm actually I told Kyle McClellan this. I'm a diehard Cardinals fan at heart, and I've watched him pitch quite a few times. I said growing up, but that made him feel a little older. But yeah, I was a Cardinals fan, and I enjoy watching Adam Wainwright and Chris Carpenter pitch. Those are my guys. If I'd like to aspire to be, it'd be those two guys.
So that made it probably a little bit more special that your Double-A debut came here against a team nicknamed by the Cardinals, owned by the St. Louis Cardinals.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty special. I've never faced the Cardinals organization in my career this far, so it was kind of cool to see some new faces and some new bats. So.
And you were drafted after your first year in college by the Chicago Cubs. I think it was a 46th round. Right. I bet A, that you weren't drafted in a high round, and B, that it was the Cubs made it a little bit easier to say no.
Yeah. At the time, that was the least of my worries. But looking back, it was it's kind of funny to think about.
What changed for you after your second year in college? Because you went from a guy drafted in the 46th round to the 15th round. That's a huge jump.
I devoted myself. I had a rough summer that after my freshman year. It really kind of made me realize that I need to, there's always room for improvement. And I came back that season. I really improved. I got in the weight room. I got the build to sustain a long season and to be consistent on the mound. And I was able to just hone my pitches and throw pitches off speed for strikes and things like that, and the scouts saw that, so that's kind of how it turned out.
Was that a moment of enlightenment that you stumbled upon yourself, saying, "Hey, I can be a whole lot better than this," or did somebody pull you aside and say, "Hey, you know what? If you work hard, then you can reach a level much higher than the one you're at"?
Yeah, I've always had that hard work in me. I've worked for everything I've had, and I always aspire to be better. Better. I made it this far. I didn't think I was going to play college baseball, and here I'm sitting. Talking to you right now at Double-A, so it's humbling, and I'm just fortunate to be here, and I'm just pushing and working hard every day to try to make it to the big leagues, which is everybody's hope.
Jerad, congratulations on the way you finished that outing last night. Look forward to seeing plenty more, and hopefully this is not the end of the ride for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's Jerad Eickhoff. We're back right after this on the Frisco RoughRiders Baseball Network.